Home canning is a wonderful way to preserve food, but it must be done properly to ensure safety and prevent the growth of harmful bacteria. Here are the top 10 canning mistakes that can be deadly. Failing to use the correct heat processing methods and times can result in underprocessed food, allowing harmful bacteria like Clostridium botulinum to survive and thrive. This bacteria produces a deadly toxin that causes botulism, a severe and potentially fatal illness. When canning low-acid foods like vegetables, meat, poultry, and fish, it's essential to use a pressure canner. The reason for using a pressure canner is that it can reach temperatures higher than the boiling point of water, which is necessary to destroy the spores of Clostridium. These spores are heat resistant and can survive in low-acid, anaerobic environments like sealed canned foods. Using improper or damaged canning equipment can lead to seal failures or insufficient heat penetration, which can result in bacterial growth. To avoid problems during the home canning process, follow these tips. Invest in a good quality pressure canner that is designed specifically for home canning. Follow the manufacturer's instructions for proper usage, maintenance, and safety precautions. Before each use, carefully inspect your pressure canner for any signs of damage or wear. Look for dents, cracks, or any defects that may compromise its ability to seal and maintain pressure properly. Before starting the canning process, check the rubber gasket or sealing ring of the pressure canner to ensure that it is in good condition and properly seated. A proper seal is essential for maintaining pressure during the canning process. If the gasket is damaged in any way, replace it before starting your canning session. It's a good idea to keep an extra one on hand just in case. Maintain and calibrate the pressure gauge. For canners with pressure gauges, have the gauge tested and calibrated regularly to ensure its accuracy. A faulty gauge can lead to under or over processing, affecting the safety of your canned goods. If you use a weighted gauge, you do not have to have your canner inspected for accuracy. Altitude affects the boiling point of water. So if you live at a high altitude, you must adjust the processing time or pressure to compensate for the lower boiling point of water. Failing to make these adjustments can result in underprocessed food and potential safety risks. When water bath canning high-acid foods at higher altitudes, the amount of time at a boil needs to be extended. When pressure canning at high altitudes, the pressure needs to be higher than at sea level. Pressure canning is necessary for low-acid foods like vegetables, meat, and poultry. If pressure canning isn't used correctly, it can lead to underprocessing and the risk of botulism. Here's how the heat processing works to prevent botulism. The pressure canner creates an environment where temperatures reach around 240 to 250 degrees Fahrenheit, depending on the canner's pressure setting. These high temperatures are essential for destroying the spores and preventing botulism. The heat also kills other harmful bacteria, yeasts, and molds that can spoil or contaminate your food. As the jars are processed at high temperatures, the contents and air inside the jars expand. When the processing time is complete and the heat source is turned off, the jars cool down, creating a vacuum that ensures the safety and longevity of the canned food. If a boiling water bath canner is used instead of a pressure canner for low-acid foods, it will not reach the high temperatures required to destroy the Clostridium spores fully. As a result, the bacteria can survive and produce the deadly toxin inside the sealed jar. This leads to botulism poisoning when the contaminated food is eaten. Low-acid foods must be processed in a pressure canner to destroy the Clostridium bacteria. Using a boiling water bath instead can be dangerous as it will not reach the necessary temperatures to kill harmful microorganisms. High-acid foods are safe to water bath because their natural acidity creates an environment that inhibits the growth of harmful bacteria, including Clostridium botulinum. The presence of sufficient acidity in the food helps prevent the development of botulism toxin, which is a significant concern when canning low-acid foods. When we talk about high-acid foods, we are referring to foods that have a pH level of 4.6 or lower. Examples of high-acid foods include most fruits, fruit juices, pickles, and some tomatoes. The natural acidity in these foods is a key factor ensuring their safety during the canning process. And if you are using a canning recipe that includes adding lemon juice or citric acid, do not skip this step. These are used to ensure the food that you are canning meets the 4.6 pH required to ensure a safe product. Leaving insufficient headspace in a jar can prevent a proper seal and lead to spoilage or contamination. The headspace in home canning refers to the space left between the top of the food in the jar and the lid's underside. It is crucial to have the appropriate headspace for various reasons. Adequate headspace allows for the formation of a proper vacuum seal during the canning process. Foods, particularly those with high liquid content, may expand during the canning process due to heat and pressure. If there is not enough headspace, the expanding food might force its way up against the lid, causing it to break the seal or leak out. Siphoning refers to the loss of liquid from the jar during the processing, which can occur if the headspace is too small. When the jar is removed from the canner and starts to cool down, the liquid inside may contract, causing a partial vacuum. This pressure difference can draw the liquid out of the jar, resulting in a loss of liquid and potentially compromising the seal. Just as too little headspace can create an unsafe product, too much headspace is also risky. When there is too much headspace, the food may not fill the jar properly, leading to an incomplete seal. A proper seal is crucial for keeping out contaminants and avoiding spoilage. During the canning process, the food is heated to destroy harmful bacteria and enzymes. If there is too much headspace, it can result in uneven heat distribution within the jar, potentially leading to underprocessed areas of the food that may harbor bacteria. Excessive headspace can cause the food to lose its quality over time. Air exposure can lead to oxidation, causing changes in flavor, texture, and color of the food. To ensure the right headspace, follow the guidelines provided in the tested canning recipe you are using. Most canning recipes recommend a specific amount of headspace, typically ranging from 1¼ to 1½ inches, depending on the type of food being canned and the jar size. Using a headspace that is too small or too large can compromise the quality and safety of the canned food, so it is essential to measure and adjust the headspace accordingly for each batch of home canned food. Using a checklist every time you begin a canning session can ensure that you don't miss any steps that could jeopardize not only your food, but your family. I've created a pressure canning checklist that you can download to make sure you don't miss a step. I'll leave a link in the description below. While there are some canning lids that are designed to be used multiple times, such as the Tatler or Harvest Guard lids, one-time use lids are meant to be used one time to create a safe seal. Reusing canning lids is not safe due to several important reasons. Traditionally, canning lids are designed for one-time use only. After the initial process, the lid sealing compound forms a reliable, airtight seal between the jar and the lid. Reusing the lid can compromise the integrity of this seal, leading to improper sealing, leakage, and potential contamination of your canned food. When canning lids are used, the sealing compound softens during the canning process and creates a secure bond. After use, the compound can become deformed, cracked, or contaminated with food particles. Reusing such a lid may result in an improper seal during subsequent canning attempts, increasing the risk of bacterial growth and spoilage. Lids are manufactured with a specific amount of sealing compound tailored to the one-time sealing process. When a lid is reused, the sealing compound may not be sufficient for another reliable seal, leading to inconsistent performance and potential failures. The practice of reusing single-use lids is not recommended by reputable food safety organizations, such as the USDA or the National Center for Home Food Preservation. Their guidelines prioritize safety and emphasize the use of new, unused canning lids for each canning session. To ensure safe and effective canning, always use new, unused canning lids for each batch of home canned food, and inspect the lids before use to ensure that they are free from defects or damages that could compromise the seal. Insufficiently cleaned jars or equipment can introduce harmful bacteria, leading to spoilage or dangerous toxins. Before every use, wash empty jars in hot water with detergent and rinse well by hand or wash them in a dishwasher. Jars should be kept hot until they are ready to fill with food. You can do this one of two ways. Submerge the clean empty jars in enough water to cover them in a large stock pot or boiling water canner. Bring the water to a simmer and keep the jars in the simmering water until it is time to fill them with food. A dishwasher may be used to preheat your jars if they are washed and dried on a complete regular cycle. Keep the jars in the closed dishwasher until you're ready to fill them. Following untested canning recipes or altering ingredients without considering their impact on acidity and safety can be risky. There are certain types of ingredients that are unsafe to can using home canning methods. These ingredients may pose health risk when canned because they may not be adequately preserved by the typical heat processing used in home canning. Here are some examples of ingredients that are generally considered unsafe to can at home. Dairy products such as milk, cheese, butter, and cream should not be canned using standard home canning methods. The high protein and fat content in dairy can promote the growth of harmful bacteria, and the heat processing used in home canning may not be sufficient to eliminate these bacteria. Ingredients like flour, cornstarch, and other thickeners should not be used in home canned products. These thickeners can create an environment where bacteria can grow and may also affect the heat penetration during the canning process. Canning fried or breaded foods can be unsafe because the high fat content and coating can hinder the heat penetration and increase the risk of spoilage. Canned pasta and rice can lead to uneven heat distribution and potential underprocessing, making them unsafe for home canning. Canning whole eggs or egg mixtures is not recommended due to the risk of botulism and inadequate heat processing to destroy harmful bacteria. Mashed and pureed vegetables can have difficulty reaching adequate temperatures for safe canning, making them unsafe to can at home. Low-acid foods like meats and poultry require a pressure canner for safe canning due to the risk of botulism. Water bath canning is insufficient for these products. Some low-acid fruits and vegetables, such as tomatoes, figs, and okra, require additional acidity, usually in the form of citric acid or lemon juice, to be safely canned in a water bath. Altering canning recipes without considering their impact on acidity or safety can lead to unsafe results. Always use tested and approved canning recipes from a reputable source, such as the USDA or the National Center for Home Food Preservation. These recipes are designed to ensure the proper preservation and safety of canned goods. When in doubt about the safety of an ingredient or recipe, it's best to consult with food safety experts or avoid canning the ingredient altogether. Consuming canned food that shows signs of spoilage can be dangerous. Detecting signs of spoilage is crucial for ensuring the safety of home canned goods. Consuming spoiled food can lead to foodborne illnesses, so it's important to be vigilant and to familiarize yourself with the signs of spoilage. Here are some common signs that your home canned food may have gone bad. Look for any visual changes in the canned food, such as mold growth, discoloration, or cloudiness. Any visible signs of mold or unusual colors indicate spoilage and potential contamination. A significant sign of spoilage is a bulging or swollen lid. This indicates gas production inside the jar, which can be caused by bacterial growth and the release of gases. If a jar is leaking, it is a clear indication of a failed seal and potential spoilage. Leaking liquid or food can contaminate other items stored nearby. Off smells coming from the canned food are indicative of spoilage. Any strange, sour, or putrid smells should raise concerns. If the food appears slimy, mushy, or has an odd texture, it may have spoiled. Taste your canned food before consuming it. If the flavor is off, sour, or bitter, it may be spoiled. If you notice bubbles or fizziness in the canned food when you open the jar, it indicates fermentation or gas production, which is a sign of spoilage. A jar with a weak seal or no seal at all should not be consumed. Press on the center of the lid. If it pops up and down, the seal is compromised. If you detect any of these signs of spoilage, do not consume the food. It is essential to prioritize safety and discard any home canned goods that show signs of spoilage or contamination. When in doubt, throw it out. While canning food at home is safe when the proper proven procedures are followed, home canners should never take shortcuts or use alternative methods when it comes to ensuring the safety of their canned goods. Thanks for stopping by the Old Mayfield place today. Stay healthy, can safely, and have a blessed week.